been a while since I have done this podcast, and it's because I've been traveling and I've been sick. Apparently, I got some sort of flu back in late November, and before that, I had to travel from Minnesota to Arizona to sell my house. By the way, if you need a house in Arizona, you might want to contact me. I have a nice one. I've been living here for 30 years. So I'm back in Arizona. But I thought it'd be good because there's been such a long gap since I posted one of these that I should maybe update uh, my my health, especially for the people that are family and friends and subscribers. Anyway, I got the flu and it kind of snowballed into dehydration because I have a kidney transplant. And for the whole month of December, I was pretty sick. Finally, the Mayo Clinic insisted that I go to the emergency room here in Arizona, where they kept me for 10 days and didn't really find anything majorly wrong. No infections or anything like that. But I was dehydrated. And so they kept me there for a long time, lots of tests, and pumped me up full of water. And then on the day that I got sent home, so anyway, I was pretty sick through the month of December. And then the day that I got out of the hospital, the next day, I drove to Minnesota to the Mayo Clinic, and they did a biopsy of my kidney and did all the tons of tests that they do on me to check everything, and everything came out great. And so I left Minnesota and drove back here to Arizona to sell my house, and I'm feeling great. So I'll try to renew my podcasts now. I think some of the subjects that I want to talk about, or that people have told me that they want to talk about, let's see, I might entitle them. Oh, one might be, what is a Jew? That might be kind of fun. Maybe I could even get someone to podcast with me on that subject. I have one that I'm ready to do. It's Kittle Rock Shelter. It's an archaeological dig in Idaho that I participated in. And we found it's in a rock shelter on the Flying V Ranch. And the excavation and thesis that was written concerning the dig, the cave, if you will, or the rock shelter, had human use, or human habitation and use for 10,000 years. I mean, evidence for that. I mean, we found a cascade point that was radiocarbon dated at 10,000 years. So all the way up to a Coke bottle, I mean, stuff like that. So I have that one on the list to do. And if you have any suggestions, that would be good to email them to me. I think you can get my email on the YouTube site. And I would like you to subscribe to this podcast. I try to do it every month, but sometimes life happens. When we get closer to Easter, I'd like to do the resurrection, the evidence of the resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth. I mean, if Jesus didn't rise from the dead, why bother with Christianity? I mean, it's a stupid religion. But on the other hand, if he did rise from the dead, and I have researched that for over 30 years. And would hope that I'm kind of an expert. Can't think of anything else right now. But I'm glad to be back. As you can see by my background, that I'm back in Arizona. I hope that I'm not here long. I'd sure like to get back to my cabin in the forest. Although I think it was 10 below, the weather thing said on my computer at the cabin. That's a little chilly, especially if you're kind of a desert rat like me. I mean, I grew up in, cold weather in Minnesota, but for, I don't know, close to 45 years, I've lived in the South. Either in Texas or here in Arizona. I don't know. I thought I'd just let my mind wander for today's podcast. I wanted to update you as to my health conditions, my family and friends are always asking how I'm doing, and I guess because they're worried or concerned. But I woke up not dead again this morning, like Willie. I love that song by Willie Nelson. And things are going good. The house that I have for sale is up now on Zillow as for sale by owner. And I'll make you a deal, but take a look at it. You know anybody that needs a house, send them to Zillow. I don't know. Type in horse property, Mesa, Arizona, and maybe it should show up. Something like that. I've got a nice horse corral, well, a small one and a big one for horses, and then 8 acres of county land directly behind me, or you can take your horse out there and exercise it, whatever. And a very comfortable house that I've lived in for 30 years. I really like it. It's full of my dad's craftsmanship. He made all the woodwork in the house, the doors and the cabinets and all of that. Dad was an excellent craftsman. I don't know. Encourage you to subscribe. And hopefully next time we can, I think we should do, what is a Jew? Anti-Semitism is it's a mistake. Yes, it's a mistake to be anti-Semitic, of course. But the word anti-Semitism is too broad a word for it to apply to just the Jewish population. Because Semitism is more than just Jews. Semitic people, they're Arabs and all kinds of, Middle Eastern people. Jews are just part of that group. So it's kind of a misnomer. So what is a Jew? And it's a big question. You can convert to Judaism, then you're a Jew. Paul said, a Jew is not one who's a Jew in or outwardly in the circumcision of the flesh, but a Jew is one who's a Jew inwardly in the spirit. So might be a good podcast for my good friend Charles Silver. Maybe I could even get him to Zoom with me on that program. I think I'll send him an email and ask him. That would be good. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for watching, and don't worry, I'll probably wake up not dead tomorrow. Well, I thought a story might be nice. So I was the cook in an elk camp. This was with Cool Water Outfitters, long time ago. Must have been, I don't know, 88, 89. Suppose it could have been 90. But I had a nice cook tent. It's nicer than this one in the background, but I made this one with artificial intelligence, Gemini. And we were camping at Mink Peak. about 22 miles in the Selway Bitterroot Wilderness from the Indian Head trailhead, or can't even remember the name. So one day I cooked the hunter's breakfast, and off they went. Made them sandwiches for lunch. Didn't expect them back until dinner. Dark. Or a little after. So I didn't have much else to do, and so I thought I'd take a walk. It was a little drizzly outside. So I put on my coat, leather. It was a leather bomber type jacket. And decided to walk on the trail, kind of around. I'm not sure where, but it's I walked down the trail a ways, and then it started to climb. And then it climbed some more. And then it climbed some more. Then it leveled off on a ridge top. And I walked along that ridge top for a while. And I thought that I had made like a big loop. And so I thought that, you know, I must be right above the camp by the directions that I went. So I should be able to just drop off the trail straight down and hit the camp, or at least hit the trail that led to the camp. Seemed reasonable to me. So I went off the trail and down and down. Now, there's this stuff called, I don't know what the real name is, elk brush. I don't know. It kind of grows like this. You know, if this is the uphill and this is the roots, then it grows like this. So when you're going downhill, it kind of, lets you go through without any trouble. So I'm going down, and the elk brush is letting me go down. And I went down and didn't find the camp, and I went down a long ways until I reached a creek. Well, I knew that wasn't right. So I had to go back up. Must have been in the wrong place. So I started back up. But that elk brush doesn't let you go up very easy. You have to kind of go between it, like it's hindering you from going up. So I kept looking for logs that were falling and crawling up the logs and stuff. And by now, it turned from drizzle to rain, and I was soaking wet. I kept going because I knew up there at the top was the trail, and I could find my way back. Oh, I kept climbing and scrambling and pulling and resting because I was too winded to keep going, and then going again. Finally got to the top, and sure enough, at the ridge top, there was the trail. Well, now I didn't really know what to do. I mean, I think hypothermia was starting to set in, and I was a little confused, but I was smart enough to make a cairn of rocks that I, found around there in the middle of the trail. And I thought, well, I guess which direction should I go? Should I go back the way I came? Or should I keep going on the trail and then catch the trail that went back to camp? I don't know. I don't know. I chose to keep going on the trail that I had been going on. And I went a ways, started second guessing myself and didn't ever come to anything. So stopped, made another cairn, turned around, went back the way I'd been coming. Thought that'd be the smart way to go. And I went back. Saw my cairn I'd made. And then I kept going, get back to camp. Kept going, kept going, going. I think hypothermia is really setting in now. It didn't seem like it was this far away back to camp. So I made another cairn. Started back the other way. Passed my first cairn. Passed my second cairn. Kept going. Till I heard something. Steps on the trail, horse. Sure enough, can't remember his name, but he was a packer for Coolwater Outfitters, and he was headed in to the camp with supplies in the dark. I do remember he used to use uh, I don't know why my brother hired him, but he used to use newspaper to put in his blue jeans for like long underwear. I mean, he wasn't the brightest in the. Apparently, he'd been homeless or something like that, and lived like that. But I don't know. So anyway, I run into him. He said, "What the hell are you doing out here, Bruce?" Because he knew me, because he was bringing in supplies. I said, "Oh, just going for a walk." Didn't want to tell him I'd been lost. He said, "Well, I'm heading into camp. You want to go with me? You can climb up on my horse here and I'll walk in front." I said, "No, no, that's okay. I can still walk." So I took off walking and walking and walking. Pretty soon I was too tired anymore. I said, I wouldn't mind getting up on Ernie and riding for the rest of the way if you wouldn't mind walking. So up on Ernie I got. I opened up my leather jacket that was soaking wet. Leather's not the smartest thing to wear out in the wilderness. You should wear wool. Wool. You know, the Micmac Indians, when the French fur traders came, and wanted to trade them for beaver furs. You know, we'll trade you for the furs that you're wearing, and in return, we'll give you these blankets. They were Hudson's Bay blankets, yellow and red, white. Indians thought, wow, those colors say good gift, good people. Red passion, yellow sunshine, white good. Yeah, let's okay. They kept doing that, of course, because the wool that the Hudson Bay blankets were made out of, was so much better for making clothes and staying warm than the skins that we were using before. That was a good deal, you know. Be a long time before they figured out that it wasn't such a good deal, but that's another story. You can read about that whole thing in The Spirit of the Earth, I think it's called, by Martin Luther Kelvin. Anyway, I opened up my coat and I wrapped my arms around Ernie's neck and just soaked up the warmth from the from the horse all that I could. And we went back into camp and that way. And you know, when we got to camp, they were worried because they apparently lost their cook and there was no supper on. So some of them were out looking for the cook and the others were cooking supper. They took one look at me, handed me a glass of brandy and said, "You don't look very good, Bruce." Well, eventually I owned up that I'd been lost. But you know, pride can get you into trouble. You know, as the Bible tells us that pride cometh before a fall. When I finally gave up my pride and got up on Ernie and rode back down to camp on a warm horse, might have saved me because by that time I was shivering pretty bad. Hypothermia was definitely settling in because the sun had gone down quite a few. I don't know, quite a time earlier. It was starting to get cold. Pride is the opposite of humility. Humility can get you in trouble because some days you just need to fight, I guess. But pride, there's no room for that. It'll always get you. cometh before a fall. Don't fall. Humility might be a better choice. Well, that's my story for today. Thanks for listening. The phone is ringing at 8 o'clock. Time to take my kidney medicine. 8 o'clock and 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night. This is a podcast about my health. I won't be hiking through the Selway Bitter Wilderness anymore. Probably not. But yesterday I got out and mowed the yard. Oh, not grass, weeds here in Arizona. I'm getting better, getting stronger. My health is good. Bob Dylan once wrote a song called The Disease of Conceit. And in it, he said, they'll bury you from your head to your feet from the disease of conceit. Bye.